Brain fog feels like your brain is running on low battery. You can't focus, words feel slow, and simple tasks take effort. The fastest way to improve it is not a hack. It's a short set of biology checks that remove the most common bottlenecks. Start with the idea that brain fog is often a signal, not a personality flaw. Your brain needs steady oxygen, water, glucose, and the right chemical balance to fire cleanly. When one input is off, thinking gets noisy and slow. So we'll go through a practical checklist you can run in minutes. First, you'll check basic hydration and salt balance, then breathing and carbon dioxide tolerance, which affects blood flow in the brain. Then blood sugar swings and the timing of caffeine. After that, we'll look at sleep pressure, light, and movement. Finally, we'll cover quick red flags that mean you should stop guessing and get help. Think of this as troubleshooting, like you would for a computer. Moving to slide 2. Check 1 is hydration, but with a twist. Brain fog is often not just low water. It can be low fluid volume or low electrolytes, especially sodium. If you drink a lot of plain water while sweating, traveling, or eating very lightly, you can dilute sodium and still feel awful. A quick self-check is your urine color and frequency, plus thirst. Very dark and infrequent suggests dehydration. Crystal clear all day with frequent trips can suggest you're overdoing plain water. Another clue is a mild headache when you stand up, or feeling oddly tired after drinking a big bottle quickly. A simple step is to drink a moderate glass of water, then include minerals with your next meal. That can be a balanced electrolyte mix, or mineral water, or food sources like soup broth and salted starch. You're not chasing extremes, you're restoring a normal fluid and salt balance so blood pressure and brain perfusion stay steady. Moving to slide 3. Check 2 is breathing. Because oxygen is only half the story, many people get brain fog from breathing too much, too fast, especially during stress. Overbreathing lowers carbon dioxide in your blood. That can reduce blood flow to the brain, even if oxygen is fine. The feeling can be spacey, lightheaded, or like you can't think straight. A quick check is your breathing at rest. Is it high in your chest, noisy, or more than about a calm, slow rhythm? Another check is whether you sigh a lot or yawn repeatedly without being sleepy. A fast reset is nasal breathing with a slower exhale. Try a gentle inhale through the nose, and a longer, relaxed exhale. Do that for a minute. The goal is not to force huge breaths. It's to calm the system so CO2 normalizes and your brain gets steadier blood flow. Moving to slide 4. Check 3 is blood sugar stability. Brain fog often shows up after a meal, not because food is bad, but because the glucose curve is wild. A big refined carb meal can spike glucose, then insulin pushes it down fast, and you feel sleepy, irritable, or mentally slow. A quick pattern check is timing. Do you crash 1 to 3 hours after eating? Do you feel better after snacking, then worse again? That's a clue. A fast, practical fix is to build your next meal with protein and fiber first. Add a slower carb, and include some healthy fats. Another simple move is a short walk after eating. It helps muscles absorb glucose without needing as much insulin. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to flatten the roller coaster so your brain gets a steady fuel supply instead of peaks and dips. Moving to slide 5. Check 4 is caffeine timing and dose. Caffeine can sharpen focus, but it can also create brain fog later through a rebound, anxiety, or worse sleep. A useful check is your pattern. Do you feel clear for an hour, then scattered, then you reach for more? Another check is whether caffeine on an empty stomach makes you jittery or nauseous. That often pairs with a blood sugar dip. A fast adjustment is to delay caffeine until you've had some water and a real breakfast, or at least protein. Also set a cutoff so it doesn't steal sleep pressure. Many people do better with a smaller dose, taken once, rather than repeated top-ups. If you're already foggy, caffeine can mask the signal and keep you from fixing the cause. Use it like a tool, not a life support system. Moving to slide 6. Check 5 is sleep pressure and sleep debt. You can feel awake and still have a brain that's under-recovered. Sleep debt shows up as slow recall, low motivation, and that heavy feeling behind the eyes. A quick check is your first 10 minutes after waking. If you need a long time to become functional, or you feel a second wave of sleepiness mid-morning, that's a clue. Another check is weekends. If you sleep much longer on free days, your baseline is probably short. A fast move is not a perfect night. It's a consistent wind down and a fixed wake time for a few days. Also consider a short nap, but keep it brief so it doesn't wreck nighttime sleep. The point is to restore clean sleep pressure, so your brain can cycle through deep and REM sleep, which supports memory and mental clarity. Moving to slide 7. Check 6 is light exposure, because your brain runs on a clock. If your mornings are dim and your nights are bright, your circadian rhythm can drift. That can create brain fog, even if you technically get enough hours in bed. A simple check is whether you feel most alert late at night, then struggle in the morning. Another check is screen brightness close to bedtime. A fast fix is to get bright outdoor light early in your day, even for 10 minutes, then dim lights in the last hour before sleep. Also keep your sleeping space as dark as you can. Light is a strong signal to the brain's timing system, and timing affects hormones like cortisol and melatonin. You're not chasing perfection. You're giving your brain clear day and night cues, so alertness and sleepiness show up at the right times. Moving to slide 8. Check 7 is movement and circulation. Sitting still for hours can create a very real cognitive slowdown. Blood flow drops, muscles stop pulling glucose out of the bloodstream, and your nervous system shifts into a dull, low arousal state. A quick check is whether your fog lifts after you stand up, stretch, or walk to another room. If it does, movement is a primary lever for you. A fast reset is 2 to 5 minutes of easy movement. Think brisk walking, climbing stairs, or a few bodyweight squats at a comfortable pace. You're not trying to work out. You're telling your brain, through your body, that it's time to be alert. If you can, add a short outdoor walk, because movement plus daylight stacks benefits. Then, prevent the next crash by adding a movement break every hour. Moving to slide 9. Check 8 is temperature and ventilation. A warm, stuffy room can quietly drain focus. High carbon dioxide in poorly ventilated spaces can make you feel sleepy and foggy. A quick check is whether your thinking improves when you step outside or open a window. Another clue is heavy eyelids and yawning during meetings or long indoor sessions. A fast fix is simple. Get fresh air moving. Open a window, use a fan, or change rooms. Also consider cooling the space slightly. Many people think they're tired when they're actually overheated. If you can't change the room, you can still change your microenvironment by taking a brief outdoor break. This is one of the most underrated fast fixes because it doesn't require willpower. It's just physics and gas exchange. Better air and a slightly cooler temperature often equals a clearer brain within minutes. Moving to slide 10. Check 9 is iron and oxygen delivery, especially if your fog comes with fatigue. Iron helps your blood carry oxygen. Low iron stores can show up as low stamina, cold hands, shortness of breath with mild effort, or hair shedding. This is not something to guess with supplements. It's a get the right lab situation, because too much iron is also a problem. A practical step is to notice patterns and then ask the clinician about checking ferritin, hemoglobin, and related markers. Food-wise, you can support iron intake with options like lentils, beans, leafy greens, and seafood, and pair plant sources with vitamin C foods to improve absorption. Also be aware that tea and coffee with meals can reduce absorption for some people. The key idea is simple. If oxygen delivery is limited, your brain may downshift to conserve energy, and it feels like fog. Moving to slide 11. Check 10 is thyroid and overall metabolic pace. If brain fog is persistent, plus you're unusually cold, constipated, gaining weight without a clear reason, or your skin feels dry, it's worth considering a thyroid check. The thyroid helps regulate how fast cells produce energy. When it's underactive, thinking can feel slow and effortful. This is another area where testing matters. People often ask for a thyroid test and only get TSH, but many clinicians also consider free T4 and sometimes free T3 and thyroid antibodies depending on symptoms. The point isn't to self-diagnose, it's to recognize a pattern that deserves a proper workup. Also remember that undereating for long periods can lower metabolic signals and worsen fog. If your diet is very restrictive, your brain may be missing consistent energy and key nutrients. Stable, adequate meals can be a surprisingly strong baseline fix. Moving to slide 12. Check 11 is inflammation and food triggers, but in a grounded way. Some people notice fog after specific meals, especially if there's also bloating, reflux, skin flares, or sinus symptoms. That doesn't automatically mean an allergy. It can be intolerance, portion size, or just a meal that spikes glucose. A practical approach is to run a short, boring experiment. Keep meals simple for a few days and repeat the same breakfast and lunch. Then you can actually see patterns. If a certain food reliably creates fog within hours, that's useful data to discuss with a professional. Also consider that ultra-processed foods can combine refined carbs, low fiber, and additives that make it easy to overeat. That can worsen sleep and energy the next day. The goal is not fear. The goal is clarity. Identify one likely trigger, adjust it, and see if your baseline improves. Moving to slide 13. Check 12 is stress chemistry and attention fragmentation. Stress isn't in your head. It's hormones, breathing, muscle tension, and constant context switching. If you're checking messages every few minutes, your brain never enters deep focus, and it can feel like fog. A quick check is whether you can read a page without rereading the same line. Another check is jaw tension or tight shoulders. A fast reset is a two-part move. First, 1 minute of slower nasal breathing with longer exhales. Second, choose one task and set a short focus block, like 10 minutes, with notifications off. You're proving to your brain that it's safe to focus. Then take a short break and repeat. This works because attention is a biological state, not just motivation. When your nervous system is constantly on alert, your brain prioritizes scanning for threats over clear thinking. Moving to slide 14. Now put it together into a fast sequence you can actually use. Step 1. Water plus minerals with food, not just chugging plain water. Step 2. 1 minute of nasal breathing with a longer exhale. Step 3. Stand up and move for 2 to 5 minutes. Step 4. Check your last meal. If it was mostly refined carbs, plan your next one around protein, fiber, and a slower carb, then take a short walk after. Step 5. Protect sleep. Light early, dim late, and keep caffeine earlier and simpler. If your fog is frequent, start tracking patterns, time of day, meals, sleep, and indoor air. And know the red flags: sudden severe confusion, fainting, chest pain, one-sided weakness, new speech trouble, or a rapidly worsening headache should be urgent. For the everyday kind of fog, this checklist usually finds the bottleneck fast. One last thing, comment A or B. Does your brain fog feel more like sleepy and heavy, or wired and scattered? And if you want more biology-first checklists like this, subscribe. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Biological age matters more than calendar age.